What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we spot the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes,
What's up? What's up?
and joining us this week is Chris Abercon.
What's going on, everybody?
What's going on? So, uh, we are back to our regularly scheduled program. So please tune in Monday, Tuesday, our topics, Wednesday discussion. Thursdays will be Ask SSP. I have a couple of those in the Disney Vault, I guess you should say. So I'm going to be releasing those on a weekly cadence, and then Friday everything else. So movies, books, games, all that good stuff. So non-cyber related, typically. So without further ado, I give it to Shannon.
All right, everybody. So this article comes from bleepingcomputer.com, written by Sergey Gatlin, and it's 23andMe data breach. Hackers stole raw genotype data and health reports. Right. So the 23andMe hacker thing happened a few months ago, actually, but they're confirming what the hacker stole, right? Which was health reports, raw genotype data of customers, and they did a credential stuffing attack for this, right? And it went unnoticed for 5 months. So it was from April 29th to September 27th that they went doing this credential stuffing to where they were stealing information and it just went unnoticed, right? But when they got in, again, the stuff that they got access to, right? So genotype data, which is one of those things where I don't know if it's not like it's financial data, social security or anything like that, but this is one of those things where it could be used for like blackmail or something like that. Because we talked about this before, right? I believe it was on the show, or I don't think it was offline. We talked about it, but I believe we did have an episode about this.
Yes, we did.
But it just wasn't confirmed what was taken, I believe is what it was.
Right.
That they had got in and this many people were affected. But this is one of those things. And what we mentioned then was talking about how it could be used for blackmail, right? Like different data when it comes to the genotype, which is really just like differences in DNA, right? Which if you're a politician, there are some things you just don't want out there, right? You don't want to be talking about, how you don't like black people and then they found out you're quarter black, right? And then all of a sudden,
That's right.
You lose your entire base.
You lose your entire base.
Let's say
Right?
Clayton
You're on one
Bigsby.
side of the aisle. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
You can't be saying that you're 1% black.
yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, like you can't be coming out against them like that. You're not one of us, right?
No
that's
way.
what they'll say to you. You're not one of us. But
According to this, you're Irish. You
Right.
cannot say that.
you can't say any of those things you've been saying. We don't believe you. The hate is real in their heart, but just because of that, in their Irish heart, their 1% Irish heart. But,
You're right.
but
one thing interesting was the credential stuffing, right? So for audience who's not really aware, it's my understanding, according to OWASP, right? Credential stuffing is an automated injection of stolen usernames and password pairs to log into websites, right? But it's usually done through automated means, through botnets, stuff like that. But kind of like going through that, how would you protect yourself against that stuff? Well, really multi-factor authentication, right? Multi-factor authentication would solve maybe 99%. I'm not sure of the exact number, but multi-factor authentication would definitely aid in ensuring or enabling it in whatever important systems that you have, would definitely ensure and aiding that you wouldn't get compromised, right? So it's just really interesting how little simple things like that can really help with your cybersecurity practices. Now, what's interesting to me is that this has been going on for a few months, and there's no type of detection mechanism. There was no, automated methods to detect, hey, look, there's botnets trying to access websites, right, with the same credentials. So I just found that interesting that there was nothing able to see that or view it earlier, right? If it's going on for months, if they've been maybe they do like monthly reviews of their logs or something like that. It could have been done sooner. It could have been found out sooner. But in this case, months at a time, nothing's happening. It's just been going on in the background. I just find it to be very interesting that like you got organizations such as this with not necessarily lax practices, but I would feel like with the potential millions of dollars that they have, that they could invest in some type of SIM source solution, right? That could have at least detected this earlier, right? Maybe
Right.
not within the few months, but within maybe a few weeks, that could have definitely prevented um what is it, a few million in breaches, right? That happened.
It
So
had to
so
be sleep at the wheel.
but you know why that is though? Because they didn't have multi-factor authentication, right? So to them when
Right,
they're
right.
auditing, it just looked like people were logging in, right, to their accounts. And because it's not multi-factor, it's not throwing up any flag. Now they like exactly what you said, multi-factor authentication could definitely have stopped this, right? They didn't implement it until after this breach was divulged. Then all of a sudden, every new account after that point had it was mandatory for you to do multi-factor authentication. And then it was something they suggested for everyone else. I don't know if it's mandatory or not for them, to be honest with you, but um, that is exactly why, though. Exactly what you brought up was multi-factor authentication. It just looks like regular activity if there's nobody there to report it, right? Like
Mhm.
I have a 23andMe account. I don't ever log into the thing, right? And it never sends me anything saying I logged into it when I did. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
That's true.
You think it would have flagged for location though? It would, or at least, right? Like you can't log in from like, and I don't know where they were logging in from. So like, don't come after me. Like if you're coming from India or the Middle East or something like that,
Mhm.
they'd be like, but you live in Wyoming. Like why why are you logging in from all these different various
That's
locations?
true.
but
That's true.
you would have to do that for everybody that uses a VPN though, right? So anybody who
That's
logs
it.
in uses a
Ah,
VPN,
yeah,
you'd
yeah,
have to you'd have to stop them from logging in every time, right? In which case people would be like, well, I use a VPN for security reasons, and now you're telling me I can't do that, right? Or I can't
Yeah,
even
it could be as simple as
yeah,
it could be as simple as them just using like AWS or Azure botnets. Right? Hey, US East and West coming at you hot.
yeah. True, true. And I would also say volume, but if they already have the credentials, then they don't have to spam it, right? They could just log
Right.
right in. So yeah, I mean that sucks. I'm glad it's one less breach for me. Like
Yeah.
at least for this year. Multiple last year, at least this year, one less one for me, right?
Hey,
yeah,
hey hackers, congrats. I'm Asian. Congrats.
yeah. You know what's crazy, Ryan, is we got a thing in the mail. Well, not in the mail. It went to my daughter's house. My daughter and I have the same first name. Her last name is hyphenated. It's a little different. So she's been getting my mail because the post office can't read
Right.
for whatever reason. And
That's a nightmare, man. Sorry.
it's crazy. It's crazy. So we had to do a change address form with my name from her address as if my I lived at her
Oh,
address
you had to
back
move.
to my house. Yeah. And I'm like, just because y'all don't want to read, you know what I mean? But it's crazy because I was gonna bring this up today is that we got one. Apparently we used to be serviced by Mr. Cooper. So
Ah, there
we
it is.
got one
Yeah.
of the letters
Yep,
from him.
right here.
Yeah,
Right here.
we got one of the letters
I
from
keep it on the desk in case I ever do another article.
him.
I'm ready.
Because I was asking my wife, I was like, really? I was like, Mr. Cooper was one of our. She was like, yeah. She was like one of the first ones. She said it
Yeah.
got transferred pretty quickly. She said, but they sent us this thing about data breach. I was like, I am familiar.
hmm
I am familiar.
hmm Yeah, Mr. Cooper, I think is number two, I want to say now in the States. So it's everybody got a letter. Like it's a nightmare. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. I saw a few other articles that were going in a little bit more detail for this 23andMe breach when it came to specific ethnicities. There you go. I knew I was gonna get tongue-tied sooner or later. It was gonna happen. Where they're like specifically looking at people of Jewish descent and some other backgrounds as well, which is crazy to me. Like this is a very weird targeted attack, and it's going to come up several times probably after this. I think this is our second time talking about it, but this is not going to be the last time. This is going to boil over several more times. Um, Weird. The future is
I mean,
weird, but here we are. But
it is interesting.
yeah, definitely continue to tune in throughout the week. So Monday again, Monday, Tuesday are topics, Wednesday discussion. Thursdays will be Ask Sis P. I have a few of those coming up. So this week, look out for the one with Alan Wesley. Last week was Darren King, where we had a SEMA MC 2.0 clinic. So please tune into that one if you have not already. This week we go into some more SEMA MC as well as AI and uh, data management. So definitely a cool conversation. And then next week, I won't spoil it. So we got another one coming up the week after that one. So definitely tune in. Fridays, everything else, movies, books, games, all that good stuff. Um, Hit us up by the websites that go by our name. You give me a person. I'm at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. You can find me on LinkedIn, Clubhouse, Twitter, and Threads. And you, Chris?
You can find me on LinkedIn under Chris Avicon.
There it is. You can find Shannon on 23andMe. I'm sorry. I had to do it. Definitely continue to tune in. Stay safe, stay secure.